Hey guys, welcome back to Stuff and Things, where you normally get your daily dose of nerd news, but not today. We're going to talk about a very hot topic going on right now in Canada. So for y'all non-Canadians, you should actually pay attention, because this is stuff that's going on across the world. Right now in Quebec and across the rest of Canada, people are debating Quebec's proposed bill, bill number 60, which they're dubbing the Charter of Values. This charter, among other things, because it does include a bunch of other things, because it is a bill and you don't just submit one thing into a bill, will require all public sector workers, that includes teachers, daycare workers, everyone who basically works for the government, to forego any sort of religious paraphernalia. That would include, of course, wearing cross and such for all the Christian people out there, but that, of course, does also include wearing a hijab or wearing a kippah for the Jews out there as well. It kind of covers everything and would require all state workers to just be themselves, I guess. This is all part of the Parti Québécois vision of a secular society, free of the intolerances and the small-mindedness of religion. If you couldn't tell by my sarcastic note already, I do have problems with this. And those problems are simply people's freedoms, and that actually comes into two separate things that I actually want to talk about. First up is that a lot of people are actually just calling this the very last breath of multiculturalism. People say the failed experiment of multiculturalism. Some people will say that multiculturalism failed because it's just like communism, they never did it right. There's a lot of reasons why multiculturalism doesn't quite work. This would be pretty much the end to any sort of multiculturalist efforts in Quebec. So it's requiring people to strip off part of their identity just so they can actually work at their jobs. And for a lot of people, jobs, especially like teachers, jobs are a pretty good chunk of their life. And doctors are part of this too, daycare workers. They're probably spending most of their time in their settings of their professions, and they're not allowed to be part of who they are. This isn't how you make multiculturalism work. This is not how you integrate people into society. This is how you draw lines and make martyrs. I, for one, think that multiculturalism can still probably work, but it's a little different. People frown upon the idea of a melting pot, but there's something said for making some sort of alchemic brew out of various different cultures, and I'd like to see laws that actually try to strive for that versus striving to just say, no, you guys don't exist. We're just going to pretend everything about your identity doesn't work. Now, the proponents of this bill say that this is entirely to do with human rights, and they are partly right in that, because this does eliminate some problems we have in certain cultures, i.e. Islam, in regards to women's rights. This bill would help out the women who do not want to wear that hijab but are forced to from the slavery of their men and such. It does help in some ways people's basic human rights. And something really interesting that some high-tier commentators noted is that there's a possibility that we need a hierarchy of rights, because as it stands right now, no right is greater than another. Seems obvious, but when you think about it, this is that a religious right is not greater than a gender right, which is not greater than a race right, which is not greater than a religious right. A hierarchy of rights would establish that something is more important than the other. Let's say gender. Gender is pretty important. It's the cause of most of the strife in regards to, human rights and such. So a hierarchy of rights would establish that male and female problems are the number one priority, and then below that maybe we put race, and then below that we put religion. Like any sort of hierarchy, it does solve some problems but does create more. So what we're saying is that your religion doesn't matter as much as your race, which to some people might be more important. Let's say in regards to Islam, Islam does not care about race. Islam only cares about the faith. So to them, to Islamists, religious views would actually be paramount to race views. And in some cases, unfortunately, gender views. So yeah, hierarchy of rights, interesting idea, does, I think, create more problems than it's really worth. But it still does raise questions that we need answered. Do we need further regulations to help people in these kind of situations? Probably not. There was reports when France did the whole banning hijab thing that it was only affecting like just over 100 people. Like you went through all the rigmarole, you spent how much taxpayers' money to put forth a bill that only affects like 100 and something people? That doesn't seem worth it. This is probably something along the same lines. You're just causing more strife and you're not fixing the issue, which is trying to educate people on why you shouldn't be scared of Muslims. This is education here, people. That's the key. We need to work on it. We suck at it. So, to summarize everything, I think this bill is kind of in the right direction. They might have a good heart, but they probably don't. They're probably just bigoted, evil people who just want to pretend something doesn't exist. I'm all for secularism, guys, but you gotta respect people's rights and stuff, okay? All rights are equal. It's kind of better that way. But that's just my opinion, and the opinion, of course, of stuff and things. I want to know your guys' thoughts on this. I know I got railed pretty hard on my last Quebec video. I get it. I was young then. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think about this situation. And of course, if you like what you see, do not forget to hit like and subscribe buttons wherever that happen to be. And we'll check you in the next video.